Hello there, welcome back to Cinema Flicks and Music Picks. I'm Davey, your host with the most, the beast with the absolute least. Well, the least I can do today is a review of the brand new Zombies album, Different Game, released on Friday there. April the 1st, was it? Or was that Saturday? Who cares? March the 31st. And when I ordered it, it came with a lovely print signed by all the band. Isn't it lovely? Yeah, I love the cover. When you think the Zombies have had album covers like Odyssey and Oracle, and now we've got a Ford Transit that's broken down. I like the humour of it. I like the metaphor of being a broken down old band. But what about the music? Now, first of all, a lot of people I speak to are still like, do they still make out? Really? What? And I've tried to tell people over the years, yeah, they don't just make albums, they make brilliant albums, brilliant records. Rod is still a master of the keys, Colin still has an amazing voice. They made the reunion album-ish in 1990, took another decade off. Then Blunston and Argent put out a collaboration, which wasn't technically a Zombies record, but for the last 20 years we've had pretty consistent Zombies albums, 5 albums now. Which is remarkable when you think we only had 2 of the original classic lineup, where they, changed the world of pop music with adding psychedelic to pop more than the Beatles did at first, with Odyssey and Oracle and some of those amazing singles, which stand up to me so well. But anyway, we're not reviewing Odyssey and Oracle and things. So we'll jump into it. You can probably tell where this review is going. I'm not going to be terribly down on this record. But I tell you what I'll do. I'll keep the title track till last, because it's a bit special. So I've made notes because I don't want to be uninformed. So I'll go through them. I'll be relatively brief on them. Dropped, Reeling and Stupid has got a very Steely Dan-ish vibe. It's not got the cynicism of a Donald Fagen lyric, but it certainly has a Steely Dan sound. But it's just a vibe. It's just a wistful evocation. It's not a copycat thing. It's just kind of joint inspirations, if you like. It's a very cool track, very, very groovy, to use the lingo of their original heyday. Which kind of, I think that was the first track that dropped from the album, if I remember right. So people probably have heard that if they're Zombies fans. It's cool. It's cool for cats. It's a good choice to be the first thing you put out there to say, hey, we're still going. Rediscover starts with a wonderful Beach Boys-like harmony. Specifically, the Beach Boys' Our Prayer with the a cappella. I'm doing it not quite as well as Brian Molson and Cowboys, but nonetheless. So they do that, but then it turns into this Tony Bennett-like croonery thing, which is, Colin can do that too. His voice is just he can do anything, Colin Blunston. So yeah, he does this brilliant crooner thing, totally jazzy, and it's come out of this Beach Boys harmony, which should have a kind of disconnect, but it doesn't. It melds perfectly. They're such good arrangers, with Rod is such a good musician, being able to transition between things that shouldn't fit and wouldn't fit if it was a lesser musician trying to make it work. But nobody's here. Runaway, not a Dale Shannon cover, unfortunately. But what it is a real showcase for Rod's keyboard skills. He is insane on this. He's all over the place. Colin's vocals could be from the 80s, 70s even, from being a bit hyperbolic. He's just not lost a thing. I mean, maybe he has, but Colin was always so far above most lead vocalists that if he loses 10%, he's still above you. But it's not just about the vocal as well, the power of the vocal or anything, it's the ability to convince you of it that Colin's always had. He sells you on every line. He makes you believe it. Every song's a story. I've never doubted Colin when he's singing these songs that he believes what he's singing. It's remarkable stuff. You Could Be My Love sounds a bit like entitled, isn't it? You could be my love, this will be our year. And actually that's pretty much the kind of track that this is. It's the very low-key, pretty, beautiful commitment. I almost expected to transition into the warmth of your smiles, like the warmth of the sun. This will be our year, and I won't forget. It almost feels like it's about to turn into that, but it obviously doesn't. But it's very much got that vibe. That's the space this is occupying. So it's not too far away from that. But again, it doesn't feel like they're saying, let's just write one that's a bit like our old hit. It sounds very much like, no, that's just the kind of theme they like, and these are their musical realms. So they're just doing something that sounds classic Zombies because they are the Zombies. I think that can be understood. Merry-Go-Round, something a bit different for them. It's gospel. Colin's singing is very gospel fashion, but it never sounds that full gospel way where it's like, oh, don't try and copy these great African American singers. He's not doing that, but he's just doing a great gospel-ish vocal. The time signatures are very gospel. Rod's piano playing is very gospel-led. You'd think you were at a revival meeting. It's fantastic. It'll make you want to dance in your seat if you're listening to it sitting down, so watch out if you're driving. But yeah, just a phenomenal fun track that's just not what you expect the Zombies to do, but hey, they're doing it, and they're doing it bloody well. Merry-Go-Round. Love You While I Can. We can all relate to that kind of sentiment. It's very sweet. It's very, again, relatable. It's very universal themes. Acoustic guitar melody is very soothing, very distinctive, gorgeous. It's got a wonderful arrangement. Again, Rod's able to, even on the tracks that he's arranging rather than just writing, although he does write quite a few, is able to bring a musicality to it where something that would be stripped down still has a lushness to it, still has a very gorgeous quality. It doesn't sound like someone just busking on the street strumming an acoustic. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it, from a band like this, you do want a bit more. You want masters to prove their craft, and they do. It's gorgeous, hypnotic. One of my favourites in the album. I Want to Fly. I wish I could. I was thinking that it's the same title as Orville the Duck, but that was I Wish I Could Fly. So I Want to Fly, not I Wish I Could Fly. It's a different song. Don't look up Orville the Duck, I Wish I Could Fly if you're not in the UK. It's not worth it. It's really not. Novelty song from the 70s. I wasn't even born. How did I know that? So I Want to Fly is a very baroque piece. If your kind of Zombies was the Zombies with strings, very, very heavily arranged, very mournful, sorrowful, very elegiac and, quite dark, not sinister, never sinister, but very, just very sad in a way, that Eleanor Rigby would be a good example from another pop song point of view if you're not familiar with the Zombies catalogue. But yeah, this is that kind of realm that we're operating in. So if you like, I think it's one of the best songs on the album again. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. With such a wonderful line. I want to fly, leave the ordinary world, and say goodbye. Oh, it's bleak. Don't leave us, Colin. Don't leave us, Rod. Please don't be 77. Be 40. I wish everybody was young. Stay young. Forever young, to quote Dylan. But hey, you wouldn't know from listening to it, and they're making the most of what they've got. That's all we can do with our time, isn't it? Making the most of what we have. Gotta Move On. Title of that reminded me of You Better Move On, the old Arthur Alexander blues number. The Stones cut it in the 60s. And actually that's not a bad comparison just from the title, because it's a very British invasion sounding song. It's drenched with distortion on the harmonica, and it sounds like the kind of thing that a British invasion era band, the Yardies, the Pretty Things, would have released back in the day. So if the Zombies had lent more in that direction back in the 60s rather than into the psychedelic and pop era, they would have probably found themselves making a track like Gotta Move On 50 years ago or 55 years ago, which obviously they didn't. We've got it now. All good things to he who waits. And a fascinating one to round us off, The Sun Will Rise Again. Well, won't it just, because talking about again, this was originally a track, and they've done this a couple of times in the reunion era, if you want to call that, where it was originally on another album, and I mean one of their albums. So in this case, it's from Colin's solo album. It's from The Ghost of You and Me from 2009, and they have done this a few times, as I said, where they repurpose a track from even some zombie songs or some from the solo catalogue, as here, where they take it and say, we just didn't land that one right, or let's see if it works here, and then it does. So, they're not doing Time of the Season or something, to get an easy, everybody knows that will sell a few copies. No, it's a deep cut. It's from a Colin album from 2009, for goodness sake. So, remember I was talking about I Want to Fly and how that has the drenched strings and the orchestral arrangement that's very baroque. On Colin's 2009 version, that was the case there. So you think, well, they can't really do that again. So what are they going to do with it? Well, the answer is take all the strings off completely. So all the lush arrangement, all the strings, and get Tom Chimney, the guitar player in the band. Oh, by the way, shout out, he's phenomenal. To just do it as an acoustic guitar track. And again, it's not just an acoustic guitar track, because it's gorgeous. It's insanely gorgeous. And stripping it down lets the lyrics and Colin's voice soar. So whereas previously it was drenched in a lot of strings, now we get to hear the same song 14 years later in a completely different environment. Even though the arrangement's very similar in terms of how it's set up and Colin's vocal, the change in musicianship completely alters the tone of it. Colin's vocal, we need to talk about that, is 14 years older. It could have been 14 minutes. He sounds exactly the same. Honestly, you would think that they've just taken the same bloody track and just switched the instrumentation, because it sounds, he's forgot to age. Colin, whatever you are using for that golden throat of yours, bottle it and sell it. This is remarkable how you still have it. Remarkable. I did say we'd come back to the Typhoid track and do that last. Different game. Oh boy, what a song. What a song. It's a mission statement. When the keys come in, yeah, I think a few people have noted that it sounds a bit whiter shade of pale. Who cares? If you're going to copy a tiny little thing, copy a tiny little bit. But I don't think Rod Argent needs to copy anything from anybody, frankly. Jeez Louise. But it's whiter shade of pale was a kind of wet blanket of a song, I mean, it's great, but it's it's very laid back and very ghost-like, I think. Whereas this is good. Bite. This is the Zombies. So they are not doing it as a laid back kind of mournful thing. They are doing it with force. The vocals are on fire. It's a real come at you straight out of the gates. This is how good we still are kind of track. With Colin singing just through the roof. God knows it was crazy. And it's got these parts where the harmonies there's harmonies all over the track. You just wanna feel that same old thrill. This, so doubling vocals and stuff, and it's really rough and ready. You think that's really not Zombies. That's kind of rough and violent almost. The way they're doing this this approach, but the rest of the song's so beautiful around it. They get away with it. Not just away with it. It elevates everything around it. You get bewildered when it's different still. Oh yes, guys, nailed it. Yeah. Somewhere, somehow, someone must take the blame. It can't be. It's just a different game. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's one of my favourite Zombie songs. This album's been out for 3 days. Okay, mine came a few days earlier because again I ordered it directly, but still, What a record, folks. What a bloody record this is. Fantastic. I don't do ratings, but just take my general tone as the rating. I'm going to read you just a little bit of the liner notes here from Rod. By the way, the hype sticker there says it's the first album since they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've loved all the aspects of making this album. It's been a huge pleasure creating music. We hope you're able to share some of this pleasure. Oh yes. And we look forward to continuing the process again very soon. Please do, boys. Don't wait another 8 years. You'll be 84 by that point. Come on, don't tempt fate. Just keep churning them out. 2019 they were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I don't care about these things, but it's a big deal to the bands and the fan bases in general, especially in America. It's a big selling point. So bless them, they fully deserve it. Zombies, different game, different level. They're not back on form, they've never left their form. People have just not noticed. So if you have one takeaway, the Zombies are back, but they were never away in the first place. There's a paradox for you. As always, links will be below to a few tracks from the album that you may sample at your leisure. Leave some comments, suggestions, complaints, and general statements, should you wish. But as always, stay very safe out there, and love and indeed mercy to you.